How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we're going to have a bit of a catch-up at the front of it. I don't know when this podcast is actually going to go out, so it won't be anywhere near when we're saying this, probably.
No, but it is the 1st of April.
It is
today.
the 1st of April.
Easter Monday.
So it's my birthday month, and I now live here. Well, not here, but I live 10 minutes from
You may as well be living here. You're that close.
which is amazing.
It's literally, when this actually happened, I was like, fuck, it's real now.
It's real.
And I'm so happy.
I'm a neighbour, and you've got a new job.
Oh my God, so I've been doing the new job for 2 weeks and I couldn't be happier. It's like I'm back home. Granted, I'm not doing the same role as I was when I worked in the previous mortuary, but I'm getting kind of like, I'm still working within the mortuary, so receiving and releasing deceased, but the most invasive thing I do is removing pacemakers, which happen to be my favourite thing to do anyway.
Well, there you go.
And then there's sort of like the liaising with the families and things like that, and the paperwork side of things, which I really enjoy as well. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy, and it feels so good. One, to be back in full-time work, and have, like, I don't procrastinate now, or well, so far.
I guess you don't have time.
Goober's looking at me like
At home, from Goober's look off camera, at home perhaps you do.
A little bit,
but
but
maybe not at work.
Having said that, I've been really up to date with uni work and things like that, so I'm hoping it stays that way.
Good.
Yeah.
So us Pirate Soul Sisters are back together. You've got a new job, and I'm about to tell you about something weird and creepy.
We love weird and creepy.
Doesn't get much better, does
They
it?
are our middle names.
Yes. Maybe we should change our names.
Helen Weird and Creepy Stanley.
Yeah. Ali Weird and Creepy Boyd.
Yeah, I like
It kind of goes.
Yeah, it does. Screw you. Oh, Phoebe's name when she changes it. Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
Yeah.
Banana Hammock. I'm not American.
You can be if you want for today.
I don't want to be American.
Okay.
I like my little weird accent where it changes every so often.
Sometimes it goes a bit fen.
A bit
sometimes...
Like a swamp creature.
I don't know what accent I have now because I've lived in so many different places. I don't know what it...
It hasn't changed, babe.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm
Hasn't
still Brighton
changed.
gal, which is good. So I'm actually changing things up today, and I'm going to ask people to subscribe and download our podcast at the beginning of the episode so it doesn't get missed.
Yeah.
Because at the end, if people have had an absolute enough of our voices and they might be like, I literally can't take this anymore, and turn it off, they might miss the fact that we would really like them to download our episodes and subscribe to Cars of the Macabre.
So perhaps press pause, download it, and then return.
Because I didn't realise until Goobs told me that if you don't download the episode, it doesn't count as
Anything.
which is kind of weird. So yeah, download us. Otherwise we won't get like numbers and we don't get paid for this. But it would be nice if eventually we could, so we could do more of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Also, someone who makes coffee, sponsor me.
Yes, Ali drinks coffee all the live long day and she would like some more, please.
Yeah, if you were to cut me, it would just be like coffee just spilling out.
Coffee.
Yeah, that's just that.
You're not very snobby with coffee though, because you drink instant coffee. You don't have any kind of like cafetiere.
No, occasionally.
I have never seen you once use a cafetiere, love.
To be honest, as long as it's wet and warm. Yeah, no, we drink pods round Sophie and Aaron's and round Alex and Mikey's. But yeah, here it's just 99p Stockwell's.
Old beans that have been cremated.
Just how I like it.
Yeah. There we go. Right, I don't know why Goobs is looking at me. Freeze-dried, cremated. So the reason we look off camera over there is because that's where Goob is sitting, anyone who is watching us on the YouTube. So I'm going to stop yapping because people will just be forwarding this. Actually, I don't care. It's our podcast.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's just us talking.
It is literally us talking. And our possible one listener
who Helen met, our possible one listener who's also our biggest fan, finally.
Very nice man. Tom. I actually remembered his name.
We
I don't
love
remember
him.
anyone's name.
Shout out to Tom. Ooh.
Hi, Tom. Right, so, Tom, today we're going to be telling you specifically about this week's macabre tale. So, Ali, have you ever heard any stories about the Pig Man? Other than me mentioning the fact that I'm going to be talking about the Pig Man.
I haven't, no. I've met plenty of piggish men, but...
And pig women before Goobs starts saying we're sexist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this episode is a mixture of urban legends. There's a bit of true crime thrown in, and it could almost also be classed as sort of cryptid territory. And anybody who doesn't know what cryptid is an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, such as a yeti.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a real cocktail.
So it's a massive cocktail, and the reason why I wanted to do this is because the last 2 episodes we recorded were quite horrific. And not that this isn't horrific, because it is, but just in a slightly different way.
It's less heavy.
Less heavy, more spooky, urban legendy.
Yeah.
So, kind of a palate cleanser, if
Ish.
that were possible-ish.
Question mark?
Question mark, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to set the scene. Today, I'm taking you, Ali, and our one listener, Tom, to Angola in New York, which is a small town situated on the eastern edge of Lake Erie.
I did not know Angola was in America. Oh, no, that's Angora.
Okay.
Angora's a real place.
Yes. That's not where we are today, though.
No, I just got them mixed up. My geography's terrible.
Don't worry. So Angola was put on the map back in 1852 when a railway was built there. And from the outside, it seems like a quiet, ordinary town, just somewhere you would probably pass through on a drive and really not think too much about it.
Okay.
But from this quiet town comes the story of the Pig Man, a half pig, half man, who apparently lurks around an area in Angola called Holland Road.
Is that a built-up area?
No.
Like a cul-de-sac?
No, it's not a cul-de-sac. Holland Road is not a cul-de-sac. It does sound like it could be.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's basically a big sort of stretch of road that seems like it's in the middle of nowhere. There's lots of woods and land around there. So it's not a cul-de-sac. The Pig Man of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just, more an N.
Exactly. Maybe we should start our own urban legends, but just like really unlikely ones set in cul-de-sacs.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, all right. So this legend says that if you park between 2 bridges on Holland Road and beep your horn, the Pig Man will reveal himself.
Is he feeling horny?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. That's just where your mind went.
Naturally.
No, I didn't think about like a peeping Tom flashing Pig Man. I just thought of scary Pig Man.
Well, it just seems a bit of a dogging thing, doesn't it? Beep your horn. It's usually lights flashing though, isn't it? Sorry.
I don't know, Ali. I do not know anything about that finger banging situation going on over there and any accusations of dogging. I feel like you're going in another direction towards a cul-de-sac where dogging might be.
I just want to point out I do not participate in dogging because I think people might think that I do if that's where my mind went.
All right, love.
Yeah. And the fact I know how to gain people's attention when they are dogging. I've read stories, all right.
She lives in the fens, all right?
Yeah. And we may or may not, I cannot confirm or deny, live next to ex-swingers. They won't listen.
It's okay. We only have one listener, and we're not even sure if he's still here, so he's gone to investigate cul-de-sac. So residents all know the local legend, and stories vary from a freaky man who chases children out of the woods to a murderous figure who displays severed heads on spikes to keep away the curious.
Sounds like something I'd do.
So there is, yeah, it does actually. So there is quite a range in these stories and things like that.
Yeah.
And so just think, put yourself in the situation. If you were to see a pig man, would you be scared?
Yes.
I would.
Because it sounds like a weird scientific experiment.
It does actually. And you know what I think of when I think of pigs? Pigs scare me because of Amityville Horror. In that there supposedly is the ghost of a pig called Jodie. And when I read the story of Amityville, for some reason, that frightened the living bejesus
Jodie the
out of
pig.
me. Jodie the pig with like red glowing eyes, and one of the kids would talk to it.
That'd be funny. Jodie's not a pig's name.
No, but I don't want a ghost pig or any other ghost in my house called Jodie staring at me with red eyes, and that's what this makes me think of.
I do like pigs.
I don't
As
not
they are.
like them, but they're
But
just...
I wouldn't want like a grown-ass man with a pig's head to appear in front of me.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
So it's kind of... I know people joke about sort of things like this, like urban legends, cryptids, stuff like that. But if you put yourself in that situation, it would actually probably be quite scary.
Have you ever done any of like those mirror urban legends where
Nope.
you repeat it? No?
No, because I'm scared of mirrors.
Oh, yeah, you are.
And that is because I saw a horror film when I was really young called Mirror Mirror.
Oh.
And then, as I was finding out more and more about parapsychology and learning about it and researching, so much stuff is connected with mirrors.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of myths, legends, and also probably, I would say, truths connected with mirrors and the afterlife in various different religious beliefs and things like that. So there's a lot surrounding it. So no, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, I've done Bloody Mary.
You haven't?
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about this before. Why?
Probably in the urban legend.
Probably.
episode.
Sorry if we're repeating ourselves.
It happens.
So you actually, did you do it on your own or were you with other people?
Oh, on my own.
Oh my God, that's hardcore.
Well, I used to be that way. Now, everything scares me.
That's a lot.
Apart from horror films.
Yeah, apart from horror films. And the Haunted Museum in Nottingham, you were getting annoyed because you weren't feeling nauseous or anything like I was.
Something attach itself to me.
Why is nothing happening to me?
Yeah, I was sorely disappointed.
Well.
Yeah, maybe I just willed it too much. I was willing too hard, if that makes sense. Come.
I don't know, because I was quite... Before we went there, I was like, I do feel like we're going to experience something. So... What?
Spill.
Oh, I thought you were
out myself.
I think we're going to have to get her a bib because this seems to be something that's happening a lot, this dribbling scenario.
She threw ketchup down herself this morning. Hey, Helen has got a thing with the food and spilling it on herself.
Literally have food everywhere all the time.
Got a wet chin now.
You need a minute or are you okay?
Fine now.
Okay, so going back to the story, and I still think it's very scary that you did Bloody Mary by yourself.
Yeah.
Did anything happen?
No.
I don't think it would to you anyway, because you seem to be immune from all the things.
Take one look at... Nah.
Yeah,
I choose my battles.
She's scary. Let's leave her alone.
She likes dead things. This isn't... I'm going to get nothing out of this.
Yeah, this is... No. We want to scare people. She won't be scared. Let's move on. Right, so Connor Quillis, a resident of Angola, grew up right near Holland Road and has to travel the route on a regular basis. And he recalls one of his own encounters with the legend. Connor and two of his buddies were at his house. His parents were away at the time. And one of his friends was outside on the phone to his girlfriend in broad daylight when he heard noises coming from the woods. So his house is like right on the edge of the woods. It's quite remote. In answer to your question earlier, it's not in a cul-de-sac. And he remembers seeing a figure moving around in the woods before rocks were thrown at him. So he called for the other lads to come outside, and they all get there, and rocks were then thrown at them too from the place in the woods where they're hearing the noises. So understandably, the boys start to get freaked out and head back towards the house. But before they can get inside, they hear a door slam from within the house. And one of them sees a figure walk across the window.
So this is in his house?
This is his house. So convinced that someone was in the house, because it sounds and looks like it, they decide to check it out, which I wouldn't do. I would just run away. But searching the house for a possible intruder, when they were in the house, they actually got so scared that they grabbed the car keys and left.
I mean, that's sensible.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because, you know, the amount of times you get frustrated when people are like, I'm going to investigate. No. Get the keys, get the fuck out of Dodge.
Otherwise, this is just the start of a horror film.
Absolutely.
So, in my opinion, this, you know, playing devil's advocate, this encounter could easily be explained away. And to me, it doesn't seem like it's connected with any kind of pig or man. Or
Pig man.
But it did kind of encourage Connor to delve into the legend further, find out more about it, and find out more about this supposed pig man. So, yes, he got scared, but he also went, right, we shall see what this is all about then, mate.
Well, I think if something is going to happen to you, personally, you know, and you've heard legends, you would, natural curiosity.
Yeah.
You would look into it.
That's it. And I think maybe we should look into legends of, like, the area where we live, because...
Yeah, well, you've got
the
Lantern Men of the Fens.
Yes.
And there's other things, you know, Oliver Cromwell's ghost.
And we're so close to Norfolk, and there's loads of haunted stuff in Norfolk.
I think there's a haunted prison in Wisbech, or Wisbekistan, as we call it.
Okay, I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah.
So after researching through old records, Connor came across the story of a town outcast, a man named William Derricks. He was born in 1913 with severe facial deformities.
Do you know what? I knew you were going to say that. Because, you know, they're saying about this pig man, yeah, you just know it's someone who's unfortunate enough to have a deformity.
Yeah, and people are awful.
And that's probably what turns them murderous.
Well, there you go. So because of this, he was ridiculed by people in the town and experienced so much harassment from local kids and teenagers that he supposedly developed a hatred for the townsfolk, which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
Because they sound like they were just wrong-uns and they were really mean to him. So that's not very nice, is it? Apparently Derek did get married, though, and he lived with his wife in the seclusion of the woods on Holland Road, where she died in 1966 and is reportedly buried in the area. So after Derek's wife died, he got a job at a remote butcher's shop and would take severed pigs' heads home to display on spikes outside his house in an attempt to scare away the locals who were still relentlessly harassing him, resulting in the name the Pig Man.
Yeah, you can see the correlation.
Kind of seems all sort of logical.
Yeah.
For us, anyway.
I mean, the smell around there once those pig heads start rotting.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, no, thank you, ma'am.
I remember I used to build a lot of, like, camps and tree houses when I was little. And I remember building one in some woods. They weren't our woods. They belonged to somebody. But we used to, like, drop our bikes off, hide them in a ditch, and then go under a fence and into this wood. And there was a animal skull in there. So we put that animal skull on a stick.
Right, Blair Witch.
Yeah, right near the camp to scare off anyone else who might be around. Who might decide to invade our camp. That's the end of that story.
I like it.
So I see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
You know? Derek's endured kids endlessly knocking on his door and running away. People would actually start fires outside of his house. And one story describes Derek's being driven to insanity by all of this. And one day he snapped, allegedly capturing two of the teenage culprits, binding them and killing them, cutting off their heads and displaying them on spikes outside his house too. This does remain a legend, as no reports have ever been found to back up these stories. As is the case with any urban legends, it's, you know, someone said this and then it grew to that and then there's nothing backing it up. A lot of it is just hearsay. But it seems to be mixed in with
A bit of truth.
a bit of truth as well.
So there is a very tiny fire with a very tiny puff of smoke.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting and it is sort of all making sense. Ish.
Yeah. And I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I'd be really pissed off. I'd be like, get away.
Like,
Motherfuckers.
it's just bullying.
It is bullying, it's dreadful. But people are awful, aren't they?
Yeah.
In 2004, an eyewitness called Mark, not Goober, describes putting this urban legend to the test. With a group of friends, he drove to Holland Road and parked between the two bridges, turned off the engine of his car and beat the horn. They waited for a while, laughing and joking, and then they started to hear noises coming from the woods beside the road. Mark said it sounded like something was circling the car. So the kid sitting next to him got so freaked out that he jumped out of the car and legged it.
Because that was sensible.
Right? And they were screaming for him to get back in the car because, let's face it, it's safer being in the car.
That drives a lot faster than you running on two legs.
Exactly, and they're just running around in the woods where you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, by yourself.
Exactly. So this is all going on. And then to the left of the car, amidst the chaos, Mark reports seeing a sort of 6'5" tall silhouette standing on the edge of the woods, looking directly at them. They could hear really weird noises coming from the figure, and when the boy finally came back, who tried to run away, they got in the car.
He came back?
He came back, got back in the car, and they just basically booked it out of there. So, again, it's kind of like it's a loose sighting. It could really have been anything or anyone, but because people, know the urban legends and go and put them to the test, especially school kids like this guy was, teenager, then that they're like, oh, it must have been the pig man, even though it may have been somebody else.
People change the narrative to suit the outcome they want.
Exactly. Exactly. So
if he heard weird noises, if he's got a deformed face, it could be a breathing difficulty.
yes, but also if he was born in 1913,
Yeah.
how old would he be in 2004?
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't even put that together.
I mean, I can't do maths, but
That's pretty old.
it's pretty old.
Yeah, and he would have lost some height in that time. Mm-hmm. Unless he has started off as like...
Oh, he'd be 89, Goober says. I mean, maybe.
Well, stranger things have happened. But you still get old serial killers and stuff, but they're probably just not as fast, strong. They'd probably do it with, I don't know.
Well, I mean, this guy wasn't running anywhere. He was just stood there, so
Yeah.
could have been him.
I
still.
can't imagine he'd be that much of an imposing figure at 89 years old.
Unless he was wearing a hood.
Yeah. Or unless he was originally like 7 foot tall.
And he'd just shrunk.
To 6.5. 6.5? 6 foot 5.
6'5", yeah. So Phil Beath, another eyewitness, recalls investigating the urban legend as well with two friends at night, and they decide to get out of the car and take a look around. Phil remembers seeing a large figure in the shadows, growling and scratching. They jump back in the car and try to leave, but something was holding the rear end of the vehicle up. Eventually, they feel the car slam back down to the ground and they managed to drive away. And once they got clear of the area, they had a look at the rear of the car and saw handprints where it looked like someone had hold of the bumper.
And sort of like handprints like in dirt or like slightly indented.
Yeah, no, in dirt. So the back of the car was dirty, so in dirt. So, I mean, you'd have to be a very strong person to lift up the back of a car. I don't know what car it was, though.
And what year was this?
I didn't have a year on this.
But was it after 2004?
It was around about the same sort of time.
Yeah, no 89-year-old is picking up a car.
No, maybe not. So
I'd be bloody impressed, though.
I mean, I'd be impressed with anyone picking up a car. So,
Yeah.
you know. And then local girl Angelica Ramos also went to Pigman's Road, braving the spooky location with her sister and some friends. But once they arrived at Holland Road, the electrics in their car failed and they ground to a halt. They recall feeling an ominous negativity in the area. And as soon as their car started working again, they hightailed it out of there.
Just need to point out he'd be 91, not 89.
Okay.
So
Oh,
even
Goobs.
older.
Okay,
And
91.
he's the one that deals with numbers.
That's fine. No judgment. Like, I literally can't count,
Yeah.
so...
But yeah.
Okay,
so 91.
he would be a buff 91-year-old.
Yeah.
But then, think about it, if he'd been kind of fending for himself out there in the woods and chopping up logs...
Training for revenge.
And Goob said at least he doesn't dribble. And that's directed at you, babe.
Fair play. I'll let him have that one.
So again, to me, this encounter, there's no actual link back to a pig or a man.
No, nothing.
Or a pig man.
And also, if they're saying someone was behind them, like going back to the previous story about, well, you'd see the figure lifting up the car.
You'd think so.
You'd look in the rearview mirror, you turn around, and you'd see someone.
You would think so, wouldn't you? So Angelica actually fell ill and had to go to hospital directly after this encounter and found out she had appendicitis. Following on from this, her sister also fell ill around the same time and discovered she had a hole in her heart. And they're both convinced that this is linked to their experience on Holland Road. I think it possibly could just be a coincidence because I don't feel like they actually experienced anything on Holland Road.
And I would be inclined to agree with you.
So again, playing devil's advocate, mind can play tricks on you, especially if they're going there to try and find this urban legend, cryptid, whatever.
Exactly. And, they would look for a connection to make it true. Like, what happened to them.
Well, that's the thing.
And then they'd be like, oh, that's because...
Yeah, I mean, getting ill is scary, so then they're probably thinking, oh, well, what caused it? Oh, it must have been the pig man we didn't see. So, I mean, to me, there's no solid evidence of anything at all, really. There's been I couldn't find any footage, any stills, any film, anything. And no one actually seems to be actively witnessing a pig or a man, let alone a pig man. They're just seeing and hearing things in the woods, which could be anything.
There's a guy who's got a medical condition that lives out that way, who potentially put some pigs' heads on spikes.
And then stories were made up about him.
It's a witch hunt.
Yeah, basically.
It's a witch hunt.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So there's a dude called Mason Winfield. He's a local author. And he talks about another horror from the area. A tragic train wreck in 1867 known as the Angola Horror. A train derailed above the creek and 2 train carriages containing 49 passengers caught on fire. And local girl Tess Carreri Bronwell reports seeing debris from the crash embedded in the creek bed when there was a drought. So, there was no water in there at all, and they could actually see. So this is all documented. This was this was actually reported on, and there is still bits of metal and debris in the creek. And if there's a drought and the water goes, you can see parts of it. And sort of records from the time document the incident, and there is solid evidence of this actually happening. So this isn't an urban legend, this is actually a tragedy that happened. So delving deeper, it's said that 2 young members of the Derricks family, who supposedly we've just been talking about, were inadvertently responsible for the train derailing, linking this horror directly to our Pigman urban legend. So allegedly, 2 Derricks boys were out scouting for coal along the railway, which would basically fall off the trains along the tracks, and they'd go and collect it and either use it for home or sell it. as the trains passed along, and they actually took some railway ties from the tracks, hoping to make some money for their family with their fines. Instead, this caused the tracks to become unstable, because there's a reason why railway ties are there. The carriages derailed, and then there was the deadly inferno, which killed all of the innocent passengers. So according to locals, this led to the whole Derrick family being shunned by all of the townsfolk. And when one of these boys grew up to have a son with a disfigured face, locals surmised it was all part of a curse on the Derrick's family because of their alleged part in the tragic train wreck. So this story does link in with the tale of the Pig Man. Could be hearsay, but it's quite an interesting way for it all to tie in together to something that actually did happen. So, you know, there's possibly some truth in the connection. It might not go as far as the legends say, but there seems like there's a connection there. So the Pig Man's home reportedly burnt down in 1973 under mysterious circumstances, and it was believed at the time that William Derricks perished in the fire. But in the years that followed, multiple stories of the Pig Man were reported. Perhaps he was still trying to get back at the locals for his years of torment at their hands. And that's really all there sort of was for the Pig Man.
Oh.
But I thought it was quite an interesting, because it sort of comes under urban legends, and we had done an episode on urban legends. I think it was episode 4. And this is very much linked with cars, because you have to go down Holland Road, park between those two bridges. And, you know, this is sort of where people have kind of supposedly seen or heard this. So I basically looked online and I watched a documentary, which is called Hometown Horror on Discovery Plus. And on the documentary, the former eyewitnesses all get together. So Connor, Mark, Angelica and her sister return to Holland Road together in the documentary. And they end up visiting the spot where William Derrick's home used to be. And there is actually some rubble there and sort of evidence of a derelict building. And when they got there, they reported sort of getting cold shivers, negative feelings, strange noises coming from the woods, and eventually they run back to the car believing they heard demonic pig noises. Again, there was no footage of this. In the documentary, there was a bit of noise from the woods, but it just sounded like an animal, because it's the woods.
It probably was.
So, after all of that, the legend of the Pig Man remains just that, a legend tied up with real-life tragedy and the sad story of a lonely man who was cast out by society. And locals still warn spooky thrill seekers to stay away from Holland Road, but people go back again and again hoping to see or hear the Pig Man. Because that's what happened with urban legends. People put them to the test, don't they? So, you know, I mean, like I said, we did a whole episode on car-related urban legends in episode 4, and very few of the stories actually have any solid evidence to back anything up. And many of them are kind of stories that are passed down through generations and become embellished and changed along the way.
Yeah.
But I thought this one was particularly interesting because it had that documented tragedy sort of within part
so
of
there's
it.
actual,
so there's, you know, there's something there.
Yeah.
And there's sort of all these tidbits of history and connections. And so as far as sort of urban legends, true crime, that sort of thing goes, it's quite interesting. And, you know, it's just, I thought it was a good one to talk about, because it's it would be a spooky road trip for lots of people, and people still go there to try it out. So
it certainly would, but I don't know, I just think with regards to that gentleman, people are just arseholes towards him.
yeah.
He's trying to aggravate him.
Oh yeah, I mean it just sounds like people just being annoying people. But what would, if you lived in Angola and you heard about all the legends, would you think you'd go drive up there with some friends, and or you'd probably go by yourself? Be like, right, come on.
No, I don't think I go by myself. I mean, you've seen me sort of in the immersive scare attractions. So when it feels kind of real, I don't know. If I was younger, then yeah. I think now I've got a bit more respect, especially once you know sort of the story of, he was just deformed and people were just mean to him.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's not like Bloody Mary.
No.
That's just being an arsehole.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. That is the story of possibly the Pig Man.
Short but sweet.
Short but sweet. But yeah, that's it. Was that a little bit too short, perhaps?
Don't know.
I don't
How
know
long we've been going?
Goobs normally tells us how long it is. But 30 minutes.
34 minutes.
34 minutes. 37 minutes.
37 minutes.
That's not too bad. You can leave all that.
Well, that'll be
crap in.
slightly shorter now because that bit will be cut out.
So yeah, so there we go. Like I said, I mean, it's probably a really bad way to describe it as a palate cleanser. We need to come up with another term.
I think we're going to have a think on that one.
It just wasn't quite as horrific as
It's not traumatic.
No.
I mean, it's traumatic for William.
Yes.
If this is a gentleman that's been...
And the train wreck.
And the train wreck, yeah, of course. But yeah, it's just less heavy.
Yeah, and we do like urban legends, so, So there we go. I'll keep collecting them and I'll do another episode on like car-related urban legends. But for now, I just thought that one was so interesting with its little bits and pieces that it deserved a whole episode by itself.
Oh, yeah, no, I like that.
So, have you, Alison Boyd, got a random fact for us this week?
I do. So when I was a funeral arranger, you could get sort of motorbike hearses and things like that for, that can be used on funerals. And got on really well with the guy that ran the company that we used for the motorbike hearses. And he personally recommended me to a Hell's Angel to arrange a funeral for a member of their family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting fact, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. Very good.
Yeah.
Well done. My random fact is that I have a brain jar in my garden. So it's flowers are in it at the minute. Well, actually, succulents are in it at the minute, and it's very old, and it used to be in a hospital, and brains used to be put in it.
Why did I not know that?
Mum gave it to me, so she had two, and one of the ones was really amazing. It was white, and it actually had brains written on it, but either she or her husband reversed into it and cracked it and broke it.
Oh, no.
Which is so sad. And then so she only had one brain jar left and she gave it to me.
I want a brain jar.
Yeah. You wouldn't know it was a brain jar, that one, unless I told you.
No, but that's like your little secret.
But it is very cool. Yeah, so that's my random fact. I have a brain jar in my garden.
Huh. I'm jealous. I want a brain jar.
Well, I only live 10 minutes away, so you can come see it.
That's very true. Maybe I should look online. Old medical...
Yeah, you'd be able to get medical.
containers.
I always worry that things like that are going to be haunted.
Nah, you'll be all right with a jar.
Will you though?
You can't capture anything. It's not like a mirror.
You say that, but dolls are haunted. Furniture is haunted.
I don't know. I just feel like a jar is just a jar.
No one died in the jar.
No.
It's not like spirits or souls are captured. Oh, we've got a random fact for Goobs, have we?
Why would you scroll past it? Ah. No, please tell me that's not real.
Oh my god. Okay, Ali, do you want to read this?
I'm fucking heartbroken. Oh my god. So Gilbert, I can't bring myself to say it. It's fucking horrible.
Do you want me to?
No, I've got it. He once had a winning lottery ticket, £250,000. The ticket went through the washing machine, so he is not 250 grand richer.
Shit the bed, Goobs. That's
heartbreaking.
Oh,
April Fools. Oh, you
Fools,
twat.
you
Oh,
Bastard. I was going to try and come up with some sort of silver lining for you, like, oh, you weren't meant to win it, because if you did, you might have died or something.
Yeah.
And then it was April Fool's. You're not supposed to make April Fool's jokes after 12 o'clock, by the way.
prove it. prove the time.
I mean, I don't know, because I don't have a watch on me.
So, yes, he has a fishing lake named after him.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's his dad's.
Okay. Love it. Love that. Going back to finding strange hospital items and worrying about things being haunted. When I lived in Hertford, I had a very cool vintage lamp which had been taken, liberated, found in an asylum and was for sale. And it was one of those hospital ones that it goes on the wall and it's almost got like the crisscross pattern metal bit that comes out. So yeah, that was in the spare room in my Hertford house.
The room I used to sleep in?
Yeah. Oh, sick.
Why can't I remember the lamp?
I don't know, it's really cool. It's just, it looked really sort of...
Just generic?
Yeah, it was just really sort of, really cool, vintage, but it didn't really stand out. And then I rewired it with like this very cool, like old school orange wire, like, you know, like the braided wire from the old school stuff. I rewired it wrong because it didn't work, but it looked really cool.
Oh.
So, and that was just off eBay. And these people had loads of stuff. They'd obviously gone, right, well, you're not really supposed to do that, go to old buildings and take things out of them, but they obviously had.
Well, you know what I'm doing when I get paid, what I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah. But I do worry that something like that might be haunted.
To be fair, I would do this house up like a weird asylum mortuary type thing.
I always wanted a room...
Yes, I will pay you rent as well.
I always wanted a room with tiled walls because I like tiled walls in rooms.
All padded.
I like
For when we have a mentee bee.
Well, the tiled ones, I can clean them better.
Yeah, that's true.
Reggie would pee up the padded walls and then, you know, be stinky wall.
We just have to wear a nappy the whole time.
Yeah. Would you ever own a haunted doll that you knew to be haunted?
No, not a haunted doll.
Okay.
Mm.
Google would, he says. We're not going to experiment on that because I'm too scared.
Yeah, no, so I used to collect China dolls, didn't I?
Did you? I've obviously blocked that from my memory.
Yeah, I had Kai's head off done.
It wouldn't work. It would just get really pissed at you and haunt you.
Prove it.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, no, I used to have quite a few China dolls and stuff, and I used to imagine them being possessed. Like they would come to life like at night time or something like that. I mean, they never did. But
did they?
You know, no. But they were the ones like that eyes just follow you wherever you were in the room.
Yeah.
I've got Mum's friend Wendy. She says the picture that Mum has of Dad does that to her.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like scares the shit out of her because his eyes just follow her wherever she goes in the room.
Oh, yeah, no, I couldn't. Well, when I was little, I used to make Mum and Dad turn all my teddies' heads around. I wouldn't have their eyes staring at me at night.
And I also think there was a ghost story I used to tell. I'd heard it, and then I used to tell others about it, about a doll coming to life. And it's 1, 2, I'm coming for you. Something like that, about a little girl called Annie who had a doll, you know, that her father bought her. She really wanted this doll, and it ended up being possessed and ended up killing her.
Oh, my God.
I think the end of it's like 9, 10, Annie, you're dead, or something like that. It's a really good story. And
sounds like a song.
There was like, yeah, so there was a story, and then it was the song this doll would sing going up the stairs and stuff, coming to get the little kid.
Song that doesn't...
Oh, no, it's 9... Oh, is that Annie, I'm on your bed, 9, 10, Annie, you're dead. I can't remember. Anyway.
Sounds scary anyway.
But yeah, it was scary, and I think I used to like... I think from that I was a bit weirded out by my China dolls.
I'm not surprised.
But I still have them.
I don't remember you having them, because that would have freaked me out.
It was in the flat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I think maybe I took them over to Family HQ, and then I grew up and I didn't have them anymore.
Would you ever... Because obviously mentioning Vegas and Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum,
There we go.
I've told you about that up and there. But also the haunted museum in Nottingham that we've been to, they had haunted mirrors. Would you ever have a haunted mirror in your house? The answer is no.
Well, I mean,
no.
Sensibly, no. But like I said, I as much as I'm open to it, and I am a believer, I still want proof. Does that make sense?
I'm telling you now, if you get a haunted mirror in this house and or a doll, I'm not coming round. And Goobs, don't make that's an excuse for me not to come round, because he will just do that.
If it was free, I would give it a go.
I wouldn't.
It's like you wouldn't do a Ouija board.
No.
I've done one of those.
No.
But not properly. And I would do one as an adult.
No.
Call me stupid. It probably is a very stupid thing to do. But like I said, I as much as I am a bit of a, I am a believer, I still want proof. Like, I've seen several mediums. But I'm always seeking for more proof.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to stand on the outside with some crystal surrounding me, some salt and some sage.
You're just going to chuck salt at me when I walk
and I
through
will
the
just
door.
help you when you come out, but I wouldn't be anywhere near you doing that.
I mean, all in the name of science.
In which case, don't do it in your own house.
Oh, I'll do it in... There's plenty of people I don't like.
Just get rent an external building somewhere.
Yeah. But which won't help if it attaches itself to me.
No, well, that's why you need the sage, the crystals.
Yeah. I'll just have you on hand.
Or, like crucifixes,
bath
whatever
of
else.
Holy water. Rob the church.
Oh, do you know what would be the dream? Is to have a house with a moat round it, and the moat is all holy water.
Yeah.
But you'd have to make sure the house wasn't haunted before, because otherwise I think we'd be stuck in there.
Isn't the thing that makes holy water holy just a blessing? I'll just get...
priest to bless water in a moat,
Yeah. Sorted.
Yeah, but you would have to make sure the house was clear first.
Yeah. That's all right, I'll get you in to sage it. Salt around the windows and the doors. Any openings.
And brick dust.
Yeah.
And you bury things in the corners as well, don't you, of houses and the foundations.
Not like me with my conkers in every corner of the room to keep away spiders.
No, they don't work. That doesn't work. But apparently is it coins?
Yes.
Coins, and then sometimes you can do it with the protection crystals, bury them in the corner of the foundations.
Yeah, so in the Shirley Jackson book, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, Mary Cat, she buries coins in the garden.
Okay. All right, well, we've had our random facts. We've talked about a man who may or may not be anything to do with pigs, and we've asked you to download and subscribe, and so I'll sign off now. I
mean, as well as downloading and subscribing, give us a love, get a like even, give us some love, like and send us nice comments and any spooky stories of your own that involve cars of somewhat. Share, let your friends know, your family know. Yeah. We're not that bad.
If you have got any stories, we're trying to get enough to do a couple of episodes. So we've got some really good ones, but we need enough.
I thought you were about to say if you've got any friends.
No. So if you've got any stories, email them to carsofthemacabre@gmail.com. And then on Instagram, we are at Cars of the Macabre.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by Park Lane Studios. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you very
much.
And
also HT... How-to Solutions, our mate Daryl. He's pretty cracking. Yeah, we love him.
And that's Ali and I'm Helen. And until next time,
stay spooky, bitches.